Hello, welcome to my tutorial on how to use CarViewer program to render your schemes. This is Phil or Phil Almighty or Philip. And the first thing you want to do is go ahead and open up your browser and go to stenodracing.com, or sorry, .net is actually the community's website URL. And once you're there, you're gonna see a home page that looks like this. Home. I'll go to home real quick. Yeah, you're probably gonna have the forum page go up, and in order to get to the CarViewer files, I'll put a link in the description because you're gonna need to download the program called CarViewer. It's N2K3 CarViewer, or you could do a quick search to find it. You may need to log in or register an account to use the search function, or even better, instead of doing all that, if you can just do a quick browser for the CarViewer program, you should be able to find it. I recommend you read this brief tutorial on how to use the program, but I will go over it in this video. And it's also great to go back and read this if you have any questions, or you can just watch the video again. So once you have the program, it's going to look something like this by default. This is the old Gen 4 NASCAR Racing 2003 models that were in the game. A lot of people, I'm sure, this is one of the most original sim racing games that we have in the NASCAR community. And what you need to do is change that mesh or the render to the body type you're using. So in order to do that, you have to upload a DirectX file to the program. So you go to File and you hit Open DirectX Mesh, and it's going to ask you where to get this X file from on your computer. In order to get the X file for the render you're trying to upload, you're also going to need to go back into either Stenod or just do a quick web search to find the X file for the body type you're doing. So for today's example, I'm going to do MENCS, so Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series 2019, which are also referred to as Generation 6 in the NASCAR Cup Series. And there's also X files on this website. So if you go to downloads, on the left side you'll see all these categories, and right here is your X files. And you can see right here there's the next gen X files, and there's a whole bunch of X files here. I believe the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series 2019, I'm not seeing them. I'm trying to remember where I found them. I think I had to do a quick browser and I found them in a post. In fact, I'll do it right now. Here's another look. I did a web search trying to find some files, but usually if you just do a quick look for, like I did, you can see my search history. Here we go. SNG, so Splash and Go mods. Right here, and then just to download it, you hit download, and it's all free. You don't have to log in to have an account to download files on this website, so just keep that in mind. In fact, the Steno community asks that you don't make an account unless you're going to be active on there. It's right here. But anyways, so once you have the X files, you go back to your program, and we're going to open the DirectX mesh file. Now I have it saved. I recommend you make a folder and you pin it, or know where your X files are located. And when you open these folders, you're going to have options for your manufacturer. In today's example, I'm going to do Camaro. And then sometimes you'll have one or two different options, or even more. You can click through it and see what each X file does. But this one is the one I'm going to be using, which makes the interior of the car have transparency so you can see. And then boom. Now, your car will not look like this automatically when you render it. I'll show you why here. I'm going to have to change the texture real quick to the default one, just for the purposes of... I got to change this file first. Give me a moment here. So when you render your car, it will have a basic template that's already comes with the X file, and your tires are probably going to be Goodyear tires as well. That's another thing I'll show you how to change. In fact, let me do that right now. Okay. Oh, I accidentally did the background. I meant to do the tires. Well, that's fine. We can have that there. That's good. File, open tire texture. That's where you change it. But here, I'll change the tires to... Okay. The tires are the default Goodyear ones. And for the background, I'm just going to go ahead and change it. So it's probably going to be a basic color. Like, I think it's white, but it's really hard on my eyes to have bright white on my screen. So that's why it's just a gray background for now. And now that we have the body that we want to use, we're going to head and render the scheme onto our vehicle. So we'll start off by going to File, Open Texture, and what we're going to use is the scheme you just saw originally. But in order to do that, you're going to have to go find your file, your scheme that you're doing, and I'll use an example for this. Will be GIMP. Here's the original file I'm using. Once it's done and you're ready to upload to CarViewer to render, you're going to go to File, Export As, and then you're going to save the file as a BMP file. It's just the type of file that CarViewer uses. It's like a .png file or JPEG file. And what I like to do is I like to rename it. As you can see here, I've done it before, but I like to name the ending with the type of file it is. And 2 just means it was the second render I used, but just to help me find it, because a lot of times when you go to CarViewer, you won't know necessarily what the file extension is by default, so you want to make sure you have the right one. You don't have to do that. It's just a tip I like to do, and you can see that I do that for other files too sometimes. Like right here is a TGA. Anyways, you're going to export it. I'm not going to do that because I've already exported it, but you can go ahead and export, and sometimes a window pops up. Like it'll ask like, do you want to cancel, or bottom left, like compress the file or whatever, and just go ahead and compress it, and then it'll save it. All right. So the reason why, just to let you know, it comes up with that extra dialog. Sometimes when it comes to files that have a lot of layers, it needs to merge all those layers together so it can actually render it for whatever purposes, like uploading to Roblox or for CarViewer program. Now that you have done that, you're going to go back to the CarViewer program, and you're going to go File, Open Texture. You're going to find wherever you saved that file and put it into your X file folder with the manufacturer that you're using. So we're doing Camaro, and you should paste it in here. So copy it and paste it into here. And that file is not going to be named the right convention. You can't just open that texture. You're going to have to rename it to the default name the program uses, which is card. And it's not always card. Like for example, if you use NASCAR Xfinity Series 2020, I believe they name it something else. No, that one's card as well. Was it? Let's see, give me. I think. Just trying to give you guys an example that also uses card. Sometimes they're named like the actual template is called like NASCAR Xfinity Series 20 _ 2048. You just have to find the default file, whatever it's named, and rename it to that. So for example, in this, we're using Camaro. The default template is called card, and it's a BMP file. And I need to take that default template and rename it to something else. I'm going to call it original, or orig for original. And I know the file I just was using earlier to have the template. So let's say you copy and paste it in here. You're going to rename it by, you can right click and hit rename. Or you can just go ahead and hit F2. That's a quick way to rename something. That's also a tip for a lot of other things you can rename by hitting F2. So I'm going to call it card. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit open. Click it, hit open, and it should load. I think it's still loading. The program froze on me. It's not. I'm gonna have to. So this is a good. I'm glad it does this right now. Sometimes CarViewer does freeze or whatever. It's a very old program, so you might have to reopen it. So I'm gonna go ahead and reopen it. Okay. So it did load, but you can see that the body style is wrong. So we're gonna go ahead and open up our DirectX mesh again, and it was this one I used. And boom, we got our scheme rendered. Huzzah. So you have more. If you honestly, you could call it quits and be like, "This is what I want." Take a screenshot, upload it, or whatever. If you want to add a little bit more detail, I'll show you. For example, the tires you can change. There's quite a bit more to this program besides just cars. By the way, I mean, you can go look, but they have X files for pit crew and stuff like that. If you're actually using this for NR2003 or whatever. But anyways, so we're gonna change the background. Actually, let's do the tires first. So open tire texture. It's a similar process. You go to the X file, you open up the body type you're using, and then the manufacturer, and you got to find the original tires, and they should also be a BMP file. Which here's 3 BMP files, and this is the tire. I don't know why it's called that naming convention, but I can tell you that's the actual tires right there. So you have to name it the slow GDYR_WC. And this is the new tire. So again, you're going to copy and paste the BMP file of the tire texture you're using. Where you can find that, you can do a little search online, or sometimes when you download like schemes and stuff like that, they for NR2003, they might come with the tire textures that they use. Just do a little search. But yeah, I mean, and then make sure when you have the tire texture file that it's one of the supported formats, which it says right here, which is BMP, JPEG, TGA. So we're good on the format. This is the file. I'm going to go ahead and rename this original one to _orig, and then we're going to rename the one we want to the normal convention, open it, and now we're going to have general tires load, as you can see. Okay. Cool. Tires are done. Scheme's done. Last thing is background. You can do something simple. Just change the color if you want. Add a custom color, and it should upload. Or you can do a texture, which I have a folder for this as well. I would recommend you make a folder for your background so you can find them easily. But for the case of this one, I want to do like an orange smoky effect stage. And for backgrounds, I noticed you don't have to use the supported formats. You can do all types of files. So you can do .ping, JPEG, so JPEG, but without like the extra letter in there. But for the purposes, I'm just gonna do. Let's do this the orange background here, and hit open. And it should work. Now, sometimes when you open, actually, I'd say something. Every time you change the background, it's gonna make your scheme go white. I don't know why it does that, but just an easy fix. Go ahead and go back to your X file and open up the card scheme, and it should work. And boom! Now we're pretty much fully done. We have our scheme, our tire, and our background. And in order to use this program, you can left click to rotate around, right click to pan the car, and then also use the letters Z and X to zoom in and out. So Z's in, X is out, or N and M. So N is more minor, zooms in and out. And you can also see the hotkeys to do that right here in Zoom. Tells you the hotkeys. This background, this make stuff is for the primitive 2003 stuff, so you won't ever usually touch this. And then the background, I just showed you the lighting. That adds like a little bit of a shadow effect, but I honestly don't recommend it, and I don't think it looks that great. You can have auto rotate, and you'll see the car just automatically rotates around. And you can't control it. You can't stop it. The only way you can stop it is hitting this, I guess, to stop it. And other than that, that's about it for this program. I will go ahead and show you another example real quick with, I guess, less talking. So let's do a next gen car, and for the sake of this, we'll do one of my schemes. So we'll do a Camry. So you see I have two options here. ST means short track, which means like it's a short track setup for the body. So the spoiler is pretty much going to be the only thing that's real different. It's going to be shorter. But we'll do a speedway setup, so the bigger spoiler. Let it load. I already had one of my schemes set to default, but I will go ahead and pretend that I didn't have a scheme ready. So you can see I already had it went to the default file for the Camry, and we'll go ahead and rename the card file to we'll say mobile one. There's already one called that, called Patriot, and let's just change it. Let's do I'm gonna delete these real quick. We'll do it to Sharky scheme here, and we'll rename that one. It should switch, and boom, yeah, one of Sharky schemes now showing. So yeah, I think that's it for the tutorial. If you have any questions, go ahead and feel free to message me, or don't be afraid to do a little searching yourself. I had to do a lot of this learning on my own. But yeah, have fun running your schemes.